Well, welcome back to the program. Again, Stan Gravous and Mike Detillier. We're talking about football, in particular the Saints, but we're going to kind of shift gears just a little bit. But we do want to say you're going to be back for Saints on the Bayou this year. You guys will be
gang's all here.
Copeland.
We be back.
I think about y'all when I'm struggling at my day job in the school system, and I'm thinking those guys are all like Copeland's right now, having a great time.
Yeah. So every once in a while, with Bobby, he lets me get a word in. Hokey and Deke,
Those guys will all be back this year?
We'll all be back.
You going to the Silver Slipper?
We're all going back to the Silver Slipper, too.
Bobby going to be on the pregame show?
Pregame show, and we're starting the Slipper on the 15th. So many people from down here go there. I mean, it's amazing. We walk in, we see people from home at Thibodeau, and it's like, hey, man, are we on the Bayou doing this? But no, it's...
That's WWL, obviously, and Friday nights we can hear you after some of the high school games.
Yeah,
involved
with
that.
Deke on the Friday night sports and the high school coverage, and it's amazing. You got 3 kids from Patterson's already committed to major schools.
That I did not know that.
West St. Mary has
I hear
3
that's the hot
from there.
Right
but
now.
You look at Lorenzo Phillips going to Florida. Jared Duclay, the receiver, is going to Vanderbilt. And
is that where he's going?
He's going to Vanderbilt.
He's a good baseball player, too.
And Trevon Stewart, who's the defensive back there, he's recently committed during the week to University of Houston. Now, you can drop a dime on the state of Louisiana, West St. Mary and Baldwin.
No joke.
Patterson, and a kid from Central Catholic, the outside linebacker who's being recruited by, I think he's got 14 scholarship offers. He hasn't made up his mind yet. It's amazing.
You're right, because you're talking about 40-mile rate,
And the only thing people knew about that was, when Marganza, everybody thought they would be flooded. And, they had coaches from all over the country. And listen, I was getting the calls at my house. It was, man, is it scary to go down there with that water? I said, not yet.
2 guys from Assumption who have obviously been doing well in the NFL. Tramon Williams playing for Green Bay and Brandon Jacobs. We talked about Brandon Jacobs had to restructure his contract and stay with the Giants right now. If you would have asked anybody from Napoleonville 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 11 years ago when those kids were in high school, they would have talked about Brandon the whole night long. But God, I'm not sure who's the better NFL football player right now.
The best cover cornerback in the NFC last year was Tramon Williams. He got jobbed on that NFL network of the top 100 players in the NFL because Tramon was the best cover man. Now, again, he gets tsunamied because of Woodson. Charles Woodson gets all the ink there. But Tramon was unbelievable last year at that cornerback position. And he's a guy that when you talk to Dom Capers, he lights up about, why didn't anybody recruit him coming out of Assumption? And it was, Dom, it's a long story, but you got yourself somebody who's a big-time player there. And one of the elite players in the NFL. Brandon's been a good player. Tramon's right now at an elite level.
I agree with that. A young man from here in Houma played over at South Terrebonne is trying out with the Miami Dolphins. I read blogs from Miami writers, and they say Philip Livas has us turning heads, but they also followed up with, man, he's so small. And they got another guy, a Gates, I think, who is a wide receiver, who is kind of doing the same thing he is. And then Reggie Bush is there, obviously. So your thoughts, what have you been here?
For 16 games. All I'm telling you is you better have somebody else. And Philip has got to make his impact early on special teams. That's where your bread and butter. It happened with Devon Bess, who's a Hawaii kid. That's how he started. Now he's ended up being a starting receiver for Miami. So with Phil, he's got to make an impact quickly as a punt kick return guy. I think he'd be really good in Miami. In the slot, also in that 4 wide receiver set that they're going to use a lot of. The bad problem is I don't know who's going to get him the ball, because when they didn't make the trade for Kyle Lawton, they got Chad Henne and Matt Moore. God bless them, but that's a team that'll definitely
have to return kicks, huh?
That'll be definitely a team that'll be in the Andrew Luck sweepstakes before it's over with.
I'm supposed to go to a commercial break, but I got to ask you, Orton, Tebow, that situation, if you're in Denver?
It's a slam dunk. It's Kyle Lawton's the better player.
Well, obviously, as time is going on, I think that's what's happening. Obviously they don't have him on the trade block per se, but are they kind of showcasing him in the preseason to get rid of him?
Well, why would they? Because if you got to go with Tebow for 16 games, he's not ready for that at this stage. And that offense isn't built to play into Tebow's strength, which really, he's a rollout guy, throw it to an area, or take off running with it. Their offense isn't built like that. So in my opinion, why they tried to trade Orton was still mind-boggling.
From the get-go, huh?
But I think it's obvious. John Elway knows his quarterback of 2012 is not on the roster. It's not Tebow, and it's not Orton. He knows who it is. It's another Stanford quarterback by the name of Luck.
And they might be in that situation to get him real easily. I got to take another commercial break. When we come back, shift gears a little bit, go to collegiate football as Mike does the Charlie Stubbs Show as the host with Charlie Stubbs. We're going to look at Nicholls State when we get back from this break.